parents to stop what they're doing and really focus in before the summer starts on seeing who their children are talking to, what their online searches are. There's a lot of apps that are out there that allow parents to see where their children are going online. And I can't stress this enough that we would like to have parents do that before the summer really gets underway. So with that, y'all seen what we've put out. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have with regards to this case.
What were they charged with officially?
Online solicitation of a minor. Yeah.
All of them.
Yes.
And I know they were talking to investigators. Is there any evidence that they may have had contact with actual minors as well?
That's precisely why we're having this news press conference. And that's exactly why I shared with you their mugshots, because I want to make sure some of these people, in particular the superintendent of schools, has been in the school system for a very long time. So I don't know if something happened at the various schools that happened, and that's why we're putting mugshots out to actually have parents or children that may have grown up and have, God forbid, been molested or anything happen. This is exactly why we're doing that, is to see if there's any other victims or people that would like to come forward that may involve any of the suspects that we've arrested.
How long had your team been in communication with that superintendent?
It had been a while, it had been months. I believe it's been months. And again, we had an Internet Crimes Against Children operation. So in some cases, it takes a very long time because they're very cautious. But in this regard, it's been a little while, and he had plans to come here.
Picked up outside a school?
He was where he was working. We got him out in the parking lot of the school in which he was working, or the headquarters of that particular school district. We got him out of his school and arrested him there, and then of course we had to magistrate him in the county that he's in, and then we're bringing him back to book him into the Harris County Jail.
Is it still surprising to you that people who are supposed to be taking care of kids are the ones that are?
We've had all walks of life kind of download child pornography. We've had people that do online solicitation of a murder, and we have seen all walks of life. Is it surprising? Yes. It's surprising to see somebody that's working around children every day, for someone potentially not to see something. It is. I mean, we're constantly looking, all of us. Teachers should be looking for signs. Parents should be looking for signs. Law enforcement, when they're called, they have to do a proper investigation. So it is shocking to me, completely shocking to me, that a superintendent of schools has got this type of allegation.
Are there top 3 obvious signs that parents should be looking for?
Yeah, I mean, parents should be looking for children that stay in their room with the door locked, for hours at a time, with their cell phones. My recommendation is families should turn off their internet. There should be a button to turn off your internet so that you can't, surf the internet late at night. And also have the conversation with your kids. Have that conversation to talk about the predators that are out there that are trying to interact with your kids. And they're very patient people. These predators are very patient. They can take months to try and groom a kid or meet up with them. I think, so a withdrawn kid, a kid that doesn't have many friends, those are some signs that you may want to kind of look at. They're kind of withdrawn from their family, withdrawn from friends and community. Those are the kind of kids that they like to prey on. So they do a little, when they surf the internet, they're looking for those kids that don't have a good family connection, they don't have a good friend support, and they're vulnerable. And so that's exactly the kid that they're trying to interact with, because you become their friend. And so parents, if you have a child that doesn't interact a lot with a lot of friends and is kind of a homebody and stays in the room a lot, ask to see their phone, get involved with where they're surfing online, to the different apps that they're going to, see what they're posting on a lot of the TikTok and Twitter and Instagram. Go and see where your kid is going out there and who they're conversing with, because a lot of these, had had they not been talking to investigators like they were, it's highly probable they would have been talking to a 13-year-old kid. And it's highly probable they would have met up. And so that's the message we want to give today, that it's summer. Get involved in your kids' online activities. It's the most important thing you can do. We have young minds that are behind these phones, young minds behind these computer screens, and the predators know it. So that's really the important message today.
Let me ask you this, Constable. I know that the other arrests were made at pickup locations, meetup locations. Were those all in and around the Houston area?
They were. They were all in the Houston area, except for the one that came in from Waco. He actually drove in from Waco, Texas, to meet what he thought was a teenage girl. So he actually drove in to Houston to meet.
So they all thought they were talking to underage kids in the Houston area?
That's correct. 13, 14, and 15-year-old girls. And drove all the way from Waco, Texas to meet with somebody. So that goes to tell you that, boundaries, geographic areas, no problem for them. This superintendent's coming from, North Texas, and was planning on coming here to meet this, what he thought was a young lady.
The man that drove in from Waco, is that the evidence you found where there was a collection of women's
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that? Do you believe those were other victims, or?
Hard to say. That's exactly why we're doing this. I mean, once we show the pictures of these individuals up to the news, we're reaching out to the various law enforcement agencies in these different geographic areas to see if there's an active case that could be tied to this individual locally. And so it's hard to say, we're doing interviews, but if they don't want to tell us where they got this stuff, he may have had some type of fetish or something along those lines. It's very clear that very sick individuals. I mean, very sick.
Do any of these people have prior arrests for online solicitation of minors?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. And these cases are very evidence-based intents. There's a lot of evidence and a lot of empirical data and evidence that's there that we gather. So they're very good cases. They're very evidence intensive. And I'm very proud of the work that this group did. If we save one child, it's absolutely worth it to me, and I know that stands true for the other law enforcement agencies involved. We've got to protect our children, folks, but it's going to take not just law enforcement. It's going to take mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, cousins. People have to get involved and ask questions on who their kids are talking to. And it just so happens we were fortunate that these predators were talking to law enforcement. They very easily could have been talking to a young person.
Any other occupations that are, of the people that you picked up, any other occupations that you were surprised that it was?
FedEx, there was a FedEx guy, but no, I mean, the superintendent really was shocking. And he was actually videotaping himself at his job, at his place of work. So he apparently got very comfortable with what he was doing, and so it's shocking. It's shocking. I mean, how do you explain that? He doesn't have any children, but he's been around children his whole career. I mean, so that's why we really provided mugshots and really trying to get this story out so that we can find out if there's any other victims.
Yeah, I was going to say, would it be accurate to say that this investigation may be kind of a jumping off point where, still open, looking to see if there's anything else out there that they may be connected to, more serious crimes?
We always, in these particular cases, always look for additional victims, always. So I always share mugshots, stories that you guys cover, thankfully, to try and find other victims. Victims are sometimes very difficult to kind of coax to come in. They're trauma induced. They're scared. They're scared of the system. They're scared of what will happen. They're scared of how they let this happen to themselves. They're victims. We have to protect those victims. We have to care for those victims and bring justice to those victims. And so from my perspective, I want to hear from anybody that's a victim of any of these suspects that we've arrested in this case, so that we can bring justice to their case. And I know the district attorney's office feels the exact same way. They want to bring justice to victims as well.
They'll all be prosecuted here in Harris County.
They're all going to be prosecuted here in Harris County, and the district attorney's office will be responsible for that. And
Superintendent been booked yet into the Harris County?
no, they're traveling. They're currently traveling. Again, he had to be magistrated in the county in which we arrested him, and then he's going to be booked into the Harris County Jail.
And what county was that?
Hill County. Yeah, it was a drive, but I'm glad that we were able to get him because, you know, he was thinking of coming to Houston, Texas to meet with, you know, somebody. So this is just that time, folks. It's summer. And if there are any more victims, I want them to call our office. Please call us at 713-755-7628 and ask for the Internet Crimes Against Children's Division Working Unit, and they will be put right through to the investigators that are assigned to that unit. And we want to hear from you. If you're a victim, we want to hear from you. Please call us. We are a very, very compassionate law enforcement agency that cares deeply about victims. I promise you we'll handle you very, very appropriately, and make sure that we have people around you that are going to support you during that difficult time. And we have counselors, we have people that'll be there to help and assist you. We want to be a resource for you as a true victim should be dealt with.
In addition to mug shots, is there any perp walks or anything, video available to us?
Yes, so get with me right after that. I'll take care of you.
One more question on the
Sure.
superintendent. Was he communicating with your team of investigators using his school district cell phone or computer?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. That's a very solid question. I can get you an answer to that, to see if it was a device that he was assigned to him through his school district. That is, but certainly being in your office, you know, that's a pretty serious thing. So it's gotten harder to get some of these folks, but again, I just can't say it enough. Parents, get involved in your children's communications, please. The last thing I want is for your child to meet up with one of these individuals and bad things happen.
Did the superintendent actually drive to Houston?
Did not. He was planning on coming to Houston, but we got to him before he got to Houston. Yeah.
So precinct 1 was at the arrest location?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Did he express anything when he was arrested? Did he say anything?
I think he was in shock. You know, we didn't want to go into the school or the administration building. We waited for him to come out. We you know, did our proper investigation, but yeah, I think he was in total shock. But he became pretty brazen. I mean, if you're, again, doing this type of activity in your office at work, I mean, you're feeling pretty comfortable.
You'll see his face in the photos. Very creepy. So it was like 23 photos or 20 photos. And I'll give it to you.
With the correct, like, names and their spellings and everything.
That's on the Facebook page.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Go to the
There
Facebook
was a
page.
discrepancy with
Yeah,
the
but I'll get you the
superintendent's
wrong.
spelling,
I'll
whether
get you
it's
the wrong.
Okay.
Stephen or with V, Stevens.
It's a
Okay.
B.
To be.
I had to look it up too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it both on this thing? Yeah. I'll take care of that.
Yeah, I mean, if there's not any more questions, I just want to thank y'all because getting this message out through your media outlets helps us solve potentially additional cases and additional victims. So I appreciate each and every one of your news agencies for covering this. I really do.
Because it must be hard with, you know, with kids being able to say, no, you can't look at my phone. How do you get the mom or dad to?
Well, mom and dad have to be the grown-ups and demand it. I'm sure they pay the cell phone bill. So it's very important, and if they, you know, don't want to give you the password to their phones, take the phone away from them. You can certainly manage your internet within your home. So you can turn it off completely. And so, you know, there are apps that you can download on your child's phone that you get to see every one of their text messages, where they go and do internet searches, and all kinds of stuff that are helpful to manage your children's platform and manage where they go and who they're talking to and make sure that they're not talking to some predator.
I want to be a 2023 parent and I don't want to micromanage my kid. What do you say to that person?
Micromanage your kid, it may be a life and death situation, or it might be a life altering situation. And so to me, I think if you have that talk with your child and tell them about cases just like this, where you had people that were soliciting people online who were adults, many of them act as if they're 13, 14 years old themselves, only to kind of get you bought into what they're doing. And so, you've got to have those tough conversations. Being that 2023 parent, it could be life or death to your child. It could be life or life altering to your child. And so I wouldn't really care about that 2023 parent. I'm going to have that conversation with my child and let them know the dangers and pitfalls of people who are online that are anonymous. You don't know who they are. You don't know who you're talking to on the other end of that technology.
What app was it that the superintendent was using?
I don't get into that. I can't. It's an investigation.
There's several, as he and I discussed, there's a lot of different apps, but we try not to let people know. I don't even know which ones it was, but.
Can you say what his intentions were? Was he gonna come here and like at a hotel or something? And what was he gonna do?
He was coming to Houston to meet with an underage child, for sex. So, I mean,
Nothing on location or anything like that? Did he like book something
No.
somewhere or?
no. Not that we wouldn't let it go as far as that.
When he initially set up the meeting, I'm just curious, he was gonna drive here, right?
He was going to drive here from from his county, McLennan County, and come to Houston, and he hadn't done all of the planning associated with that. We got the case, we got the evidence we needed to make the case and file the charges on him. Yeah.
So he was planning to meet one of you guys. Not
Well, he's planning to meet what he thought was an underage child. He didn't know it was us, but I assure you that if we would have gone the complete ruse, we would have certainly been there waiting on him to show up, as did the others. The others did show up to our predetermined location. So,
Randy,
Any
you
other
getting-
questions?
You getting double paid, dude, or?
I know, right?
thank y'all again. I appreciate it. God bless you. Thanks.
All right, whoever wants that raw video, just